Hello everybody, my name is Marlo and welcome to my Minecraft 1.17 tier list video. Today I'm going to be ranking most of the new features in the new update, and yes, I know I'm a little bit late to the party. 1.17 has been out for a month now, but it only seemed fair to actually play with these new features for a while, whether that's in my hardcore world or in creative mode, before judging them all. Which leads me on to my next point. I'm not going to be that harsh of a judge. I am loving the new update so far, and I don't really consider any part of it to be necessarily bad, so most of what I rank will probably be towards the top, and anything that gets near the bottom isn't going to be classed as rubbish, just maybe not my personal favourite. Now, I thought it would be kind of cool to make this video in such a way so that you guys would be able to play alongside me and rank everything too. So what we're going to do is assign each of these rows a number of points. F will be 0 points, E will be 1 point, D 2 points, C 3 points, B 4 points, A 5 points, and S can be a whopping 10 points. That tier is for the really good stuff. So however you want to keep track of that is up to you, but when we're all done we can add up our individual scores and you can share yours down in the comments below and see who likes and dislikes the update the most, I guess. And of course you don't actually have to do any of that, obviously. You're more than welcome to just sit and watch the video. One last disclaimer before we begin, I have grouped together some of the items and features as there is a lot of them, too many to go through each and every one without the video being crazy long. For example, this block of amethyst represents the geodes, the shards, the clusters, and anything with amethyst in the name, and I absolutely love this block. I'm really tempted to put it in the S tier. I've been loving building with it at the moment, but I don't want to straight away put something right in the highest tier. So just for now, we're going to stick it in the A tier, and I may move it up later. I think it's a really nice block. Plus the geodes are super cool. And I mean, come on, listen to that noise. How can it not be well up there in the tier list? Next up, we have all of the azalea blocks, so that's the leaves and the flowering azalea, of course the normal one of these, and just the regular trees too. And by the way, in case you don't know, these can go in a flower pot, and they're just about the most adorable thing I've ever seen in the game. That alone might go in the S tier, but grouping them all together, I'm actually going to put it in the B tier, and my main reason for that not being higher up is mainly because there isn't an azalea wood type, and I would really like one of those. A new wood type is always welcome for a builder like myself. Copper, the block that changes over time, which is a really cool feature of it. I think it's very nice for building, and just generally having copper in the game is cool, so I'm going to put it in the A tier alongside the amethyst. We then have the block of raw materials, also known as the bean blocks, and I can definitely see why. They're not that great for building, and I honestly don't really see any use of them other than it condenses your resources for storing it away in chests or on a mining trip so you can carry more. So I don't really want to put it in the F tier as it is quite useful. I'm going to stick it in the E tier though. Next up, raw iron and raw gold. Obviously, in previous versions, you just got the ore version of this, and the fact that you can now fortune gold and iron, I think is amazing. So I'm sticking it all the way up here in the A tier. Here comes a personal favourite, the calcite block. This is what I get excited about when I find an amethyst geode. I cannot stop using this block, I absolutely love it, so it's going to be the first one in the S tier for me. Next up, we have the candle, which is something that was highly anticipated by a lot of Minecraft builders, myself included, and I was super excited to use this until I found out how rubbish it was at giving off light. It is significantly darker than a lot of the other lighting sources, so for that alone, I'm going to have to knock it down a couple of tiers. I think C is too low. I'm going to put it in B because you can't really deny it is a very good block for detailing builds. Once again, another block that's going to be going in the S tier for me is all of the deep slate. This for me has changed Minecraft building entirely. I am loving using this. It's been in just about every build I've done so far in the new update, and my personal favorite is the deep slate tiles, so I'm grouping all of these together and saying they're going in the S tier. The Parkour Plant, also known as the big drip leaf alongside the small drip leaf, they're going to be going in the C tier for me because I probably won't use these for anything else other than decorating a pond, for example. Next up, we have the dripstone block, not the pointed dripstone, that's going to come afterwards, but this is just the block variant of it, and it's nice. It's not my favorite thing in the world, so I will probably use this at some point in time, but not all of the time, so C tier it is. As for the pointed dripstone, I cannot lie, this is a pretty cool block. It has some neat properties. I'm not sure how often I'll use them, but I'm going to put it in the B tier. Next up, we have the glow item frame, which once again is pretty cool, but I probably won't use it that often. I'm more than happy with just a regular item frame, so I'm going to stick it in the D tier. This is strange, an item frame inside of an item frame. Item frameception. Glow Lichen. This is a pretty cool block. I think it adds some atmosphere to the caves, and it's going to be great for decorating overrun and desolate builds. But I don't do them awfully often, so I'm actually going to put it down here in the D tier. Keeping with the glow theme, we have the glow berries, which for a food source, they're not great, but when it comes to placing them down and you can get the vines, they are super duper nice. Combine them with the azalea leaves, and if you're building a custom tree, well, you're onto a winner. So they're going in the B tier. Next up, we have the hanging roots, and I mean, it is what it is. They're pretty cool, but they're nothing special. I'm actually going to put them alongside the glow lichen. Here's a bit of a weird one that some of you may have never seen before. This is pretty much an invisible lighting source. You can place it down and you'll get max lighting. However, you need to get it through commands. That's what you type in and you get yourself a lighting block, which obviously, as a mainly survival player myself, I'm probably not going to use this that often, as this is really a creative block, but it is still pretty cool to have the option of something like that in the game. I'm going to put it in the C tier. I think it's a nice feature. I'd like to see something similar to it in survival sometime. The lightning rod is an especially helpful item if you do not play with fire tick off. If you don't want your builds burning down, this is the perfect tower topper. I usually play with it off anyway, but I still think it's a pretty neat item. Now we have the moss block, which is just a wonderful block. I cannot wait to start using this some more. It's really nice. I think it's a lot of people's favorite addition to this update. And I mean, how can you not love this? I think this is just one of the most amazing things that you can do with bone meal now. I absolutely love just spamming this stuff all over the place. It looks super duper nice. I'm going to put it all the way up in the S tier alongside our deep slate and calcite. Next up, we have the bucket of powdered snow, which if you want to do some MOG bucket drops, I think it's a little bit easier than doing it with water. You can see you start to freeze inside of it. It's pretty cool. I'm not sure how often I'm going to use this. I may end up using this a bit more in the future, but for now, I'm thinking C tier is a good spot for it. This right here, rooted dirt, is one of the rarest blocks in the new update. This is really hard to get hold of in high quantities, which is a shame because it's like the perfect pathway block. I wish you could get hold of it a lot more easily, but you can't, so for that alone, I'm going to stick it down here in the D tier. I'll be honest, I thought smooth basalt was already in the game. I've just checked the wiki and it got added this update so that it could surround the amethyst geode, so hey, I thought it was always here, but apparently not. It's a nice block. I like basalt. It can go in the C tier. Now we have a very mesmerizing block in the Spore Blossom. I think this is really cool. I will probably use this quite a lot when I start doing some more builds that suit the style of when you would use something like this. So I cannot honestly say I've done more than, placing it down in creative like this, but I do really quite like it. The particles are especially beautiful. I'm going to put it all the way up here in the B tier. I think Tinted Glass is something that's been missing from the game for quite a while now. It basically allows you to create a room without compromising the light level, so especially helpful for spawners. And I recently made a skeleton spawner, but forgot to use it. I'll have to remember next time. A tier, in my opinion. The tough block is something that kind of shares the same opinion I had on the dripstone block, but I could see myself using this a bit more frequently than the dripstone, so I'm going to bump it up to the B tier. So I believe that was the last of the blocks, and I should probably mention I'm just following a list I found on the wiki, so we're going in a bit of a weird order here, which is why we're jumping directly to the Axolotl, and I love these guys. I think they are the cutest thing in the world. They are going to be very helpful for taking on guardian monuments and that sort of thing. They're really fun. I love a new mob. I'm going to put it all the way up in the S tier. The glow squid I do not think is quite as cool as the axolotls. I don't hate them, I'm not going to put them in the F tier. Don't worry, all of you glow squid lovers. However, they're not awfully useful. I guess lighting up the signs and the glow item frames is pretty cool, but other than that, they're pretty meh. I'm going to put them in the B tier, because I gotta admit, they do look quite pretty in the ocean. We may as well do the last mob of the update while we're on track, and that, of course, is the goats. These are cool. They don't do a whole lot. I know they're quite helpful if you want to make a farm out of them. I think they can attack mobs or something like that, and you can get the streaming goat, or a screaming goat, sorry. They don't have a Twitch account, nothing like that, but the babies are adorable, and as I said, I just love a new mob, so I'm going to stick them in the... You know what, I'm going to put them in the A tier. I do quite like the goat. S tier. I meant the S tier. You saw where I put it. The Spyglass is kind of like a glorified version of Optifine, which, by the way, if you have both, you can do this, which is kind of crazy, gives you a completely different aspect of Minecraft. I do quite like it, but I wasn't expecting to use the Spyglass as much as I have been. Ever since I made one in my hardcore world, I kind of haven't put it away. I've been really enjoying it. I like the GUI, I like the sound it makes, and I just think it's pretty cool. So once again, I'm going to stick it all the way up here in the S tier. Do you guys have this many up here in the top tier, or am I just being really generous? And now we have a rail, which has been in the game for a long time now. It has, so it's not a new feature, however, it is now waterloggable. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's fun to say, waterloggable. So if you wanted to for some reason, you can now actually ride a minecart underwater. It's probably not the fastest way to travel, but it sure is fun. So I think it belongs in the C tier. I'm probably not going to use this anytime soon. Next up, we have the Cauldron, but not really the Cauldron block itself, more so the fact that you can now put water in. Of course, I mean, you could always do that, but mainly lava and powdered snow too, which is kind of crazy. This in particular, the lava, is something I've wanted in Java Minecraft for a long time now, and we finally have it. I wish you could have more of the bedrock options where you can have like dyed water or something like that, I think. I'm not sure. I don't play bedrock that often. In fact, I never have. But I think this is really cool. I'm tempted to put it up there in the A tier, but I think that's being a little bit too kind. I'm going to put it in the B tier. And last but most certainly not least, we have the new ore textures, and there's actually quite a lot of smaller texture changes in the new update, but I've just kind of skipped over them. This is the main one. All of the ores have been completely overhauled. You can see a couple of them on the surface here, and of course we have the deep slate variants, which look really cool. I especially love this lapis lazuli one, and I'm generally fully on board with the new ore textures. I know not everybody is, but I've definitely come around to them. I'm going to put them all the way up here in the A tier. So there we go, that is my full 1.17 tier list. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anything super important. I don't think I have, but you're more than welcome to let me know down in the comments, although it'll obviously be too late for this video. But now time to tally up the numbers and see how many points I got. Now I'm assuming I've scored quite high on this one, considering as predicted most of my items are near the top of the board, and my F tier is, well, completely empty. I guess there's nothing I don't like about this update, which is nice to be honest. But anyway, my grand total and my number of points was 148. Is that high? I don't know. You guys will have to share your scores down in the comments so I have something to compare them to. So there we go everybody, that is where we're going to have to end off today's video. It was a little bit of a different one compared to my normal building focused content, but I had fun recording it and I hope you guys had fun watching it. Thank you ever so much for doing that, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.